You've seen the claims. This penny is worth $1 million. This quarter can make you rich overnight. But is it true? The truth is, most of it is completely fake. Exaggerated prices, misleading hype. That's what we're here to expose. Welcome to Rare Coin Collecting. We reveal the real value, real history, and true rarity of coins that actually matter. From wheat pennies to rare state quarters. We cover it all with facts, not fiction. We explore coins in detailed series, one country at a time. And right now, we're focused on rare US coins. Subscribe now and discover the truth behind the coins.
They say this Missouri state quarter from Denver isn't worth a second look, that it's just another 2003 coin you'd find rattling around in a change jar. But that kind of thinking could cost you big, because tucked inside ordinary-looking rolls of quarters are coins like this, coins that are quietly building wealth for smart collectors. Let's start with what most people get wrong. You've probably seen headlines or social media posts saying this Missouri quarter is worth thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. Sounds exciting, right? But let's get one thing straight. Not every Missouri quarter is valuable. In fact, most are only worth face value. What makes some of them special, and potentially very valuable, are tiny details that almost everyone overlooks. This coin was minted in 2003 and features the iconic Gateway Arch, symbolizing the westward expansion of the United States. Underneath the arch, you'll see the inscription, Corpse of Discovery, paying tribute to the Lewis and Clark expedition. It's a beautiful design, but the value isn't in the design alone. It's in the condition, the errors, the strike, and the demand. Here's where things get interesting. Over 225 million of the Missouri quarters were minted at the Denver Mint. That's a huge number. But don't let that fool you. Just because they're common doesn't mean all of them are equal. There are high-grade uncirculated examples that have sold for hundreds of dollars, and in some cases, well beyond. These are quarters that were never touched by human hands, showing no scratches, nicks, or dullness. To a casual collector, they might look like every other shiny coin. But to a trained eye, and to professional graders, they stand out like gold in gravel. Now let's talk about errors, because this is where the real drama begins. The Missouri D quarter has some known error varieties that collectors hunt for. One of the most popular is the double die reverse, where the text or parts of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during minting. These kinds of errors don't just attract attention, they attract serious bids. Another highly sought-after error is the off-center strike. Imagine a coin where the design is shifted slightly or dramatically to one side, leaving a crescent-shaped blank space. These coins are obvious mistakes, and because they're rare, collectors go wild for them. Even a 10% off-center strike can multiply the value of the coin significantly. And then there's the holy grail of condition and graded coins. When a Missouri D quarter is sent to a grading service like PCGS or NGC and receives a high grade, say, MS67 or above, it becomes a whole different asset. Most coins never reach that level. The higher the grade, the rarer the coin. At this point, you're probably wondering, what's the maximum these coins have actually sold for? Let's pull back the curtain. A Missouri D quarter in MS68 condition has sold for as much as $360 at auction. That's right, $360 for a single quarter. And error coins? Some of those have brought in over $700, depending on the severity and visibility of the flaw. These aren't exaggerated numbers. They're real documented prices paid by real collectors. But here's the twist. Many of these valuable coins weren't found in fancy collections or inherited from wealthy relatives. They were pulled from pocket change, bank rolls, or coin jars by people who simply knew what to look for. So what should you do? Start by checking your 2003 Missouri quarters. Look for the D mint mark. Examine the coin under a magnifying glass. Check for doubling off-center strikes or other abnormalities. If you find something unusual, don't rush to sell. Get it graded. Because in the world of coin collecting, knowledge isn't just power, it's profit. And if you want real, hype-free information about coins like this, stay tuned to Rare Coin Collecting. We cut through the noise to bring you what really matters. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned collector, we're here to help you find the facts, and maybe even find a fortune hiding in plain sight. If you're a coin investor, collector, buyer, or seller, and you're serious, about knowing what actually matters, then this channel is made for you. We're on a mission to spread real, authentic coin knowledge. No hype, no clickbait. People keep saying this quarter is just pocket change, just a few cents. But that's exactly why so many collectors missed it. This is the 2003 Main S-Clad-Proof quarter, and it's hiding in plain sight. It doesn't look rare, it doesn't scream for attention. But the truth is, this coin might just be one of the smartest additions to any serious collection today. Why? Because it's a coin that challenges everything casual collectors assume. While others are chasing after dramatic mint errors or flashy, gold-tinted coins they saw in some viral video, smart collectors, the real ones, are quietly stacking up quarters like this. Quarters that tell a deeper story. Quarters that were never meant for circulation. Quarters like the 2003 S Main Clad Proof. Let's go back to where this coin began. In 2003, the U.S. Mint honored the state of Maine as part of the 50-state quarters program. The design? A majestic lighthouse beaming across the Atlantic, with the historic schooner sailing forward, a tribute to Maine's proud maritime legacy. But here's what most people never realized. While hundreds of millions of standard circulation, quarters were minted in Philadelphia and Denver, a far smaller number were struck in San Francisco, and only for proof sets. These San Francisco coins come in two types, silver proof and clad proof. The clad version, the one we're talking about, right? Now it is struck in a copper-nickel composition, but don't be fooled into thinking it's common. It's actually far more exclusive than any regular quarter in your change jar. Why? Because proof coins like this one are minted using special dies and polished blanks. They're not made for circulation. They were struck with care, sealed in sets and sold directly to collectors. And once those sets were opened, or damaged, many of these proof coins were lost forever. Some ended up scratched, broken, or accidentally spent by someone who didn't know what they were holding. Let that sink in. The Main S-Clad Proof was already limited from the start, and the numbers have only gone down since. Only 2,684 of these coins were minted. That may sound like a lot, until you compare it to the over 217 million Main quarters that came out of Denver, or the over 217 million from Philadelphia. That's less than 1% of the total production, and they were never meant to circulate. But here's where things get even more interesting. Condition matters in the coin world. A proof coin in poor shape is nearly worthless, but a coin like the Main S-Clad Proof in deep cameo condition, crisp, flawless mirrors and sharp contrast, can fetch real attention. So what's it worth? Let's talk numbers. A standard Main S-Clad in proof condition might only be worth $4 to $6. But if you have one in graded PR69 deep cameo, that can shoot up to around $16 to $20 depending on the market. But hold on. If you're lucky enough to find a PR70 decam, the absolute perfect grade, no flaws under 5x magnification, those can sell for $120 to $150 or more. And if it's slabbed by PCGS or NGC with population rarity, you're now talking serious collector value. But here's the twist no one talks about. Most PR70s from this year are silver. The clad PR70s are much harder to come by in perfect shape. Why? Because collectors don't prioritize clad coins, which means fewer were graded, fewer were preserved, and fewer exist in top-tier condition today. In other words, the Main S-Clad Proof has become a sleeper coin, overlooked, undervalued, and waiting to be discovered by the next wave of informed collectors. But let me give you a warning. A lot of sellers on marketplaces, like eBay, are listing these quarters, raw, ungraded, and claiming they're worth hundreds. Don't fall for it. The value in this coin comes only from pristine condition and trusted third-party grading. Anything else? It's just hype. Here at Rare Coin Collecting, we don't deal in hype. We deal in real history, real value, and real numismatic insight. And the Main S-Clad quarter is a perfect example of that. Quiet rarity, historical depth, a coin most people pass up without even looking twice. But not you. If you're a collector, investor, buyer, or seller, and you're serious about understanding what actually matters in the world of US coins, then this channel is made for you. Subscribe and stay sharp, because the next coin we uncover might just be the one that changes everything. It looks simple, just another quarter from your pocket. But what if I told you that 2003 main D quarter could be the one hiding in plain sight? The kind of coin that turns ordinary people into serious collectors, or even investors. The internet's full of wild claims. You've seen the headlines. This main quarter is worth thousands. But is it true? Is there really something extraordinary about this coin minted in Denver? Or is it all just hype? Let's uncover the truth. At first glance, the 2003 main D quarter looks like every other state quarter. It features a detailed engraving of the Pemaquid Point Lighthouse, with a schooner sailing past jagged coastal rocks and a tribute to Maine's maritime heritage. It's beautiful, sure. But can beauty alone make a coin valuable? The answer, not even close. Now here's what most people miss. The value of a coin like this has very little to do with the design, and everything to do with hidden details. Mint errors, unusual finishes, collector demand, grading, and above all, scarcity. The Denver Mint struck around 217.4 million of these main quarters. That's not rare by any stretch. But here's where things get interesting. Out of those 217 million coins, only a tiny fraction survived in pristine, untouched condition. We're talking about coins that were never circulated, coins that went straight into protective holders the moment they left the mint. Even fewer of those coins achieved MS-68, or higher from grading companies like PCGS or NGC. And that's where the real value begins. But we're not done yet, because this story goes even deeper. Some main D quarters have been discovered with dramatic minting errors, off-center strikes, double dies, clashes, missing layers, struck through grease, and in the rarest cases, coins with completely misaligned dies that give them a warped, almost ghostly appearance. These aren't just imperfections, they're treasures to the right collector. And while most of the main quarters you'll find in your pocket change are worth 25 cents, a handful of these mint state or error specimens have sold for shocking amounts. Now let's talk about the real money. One 2003 D main quarter, graded MS-68 by PCGS, sold for $1,528 at auction. That's not a myth. It's a verified public sale. Just imagine a regular Denver minted quarter, sitting in a collector's drawer, worth over $1,500. Another example, a mint error version, the major off-center strike, brought in over $700 simply because of how dramatically it stood out from the crowd. But here's what separates collectors from the curious. The serious ones don't rely on luck. They study the signs, they understand grading, and they know exactly what to look for. So if you've got a 2003 D main quarter, take a closer look. Is it uncirculated? Is the strike sharp? Are there any strange features, doubling, missing details, discoloration, cracks? Because out of the millions minted, only a few have what it takes to rise above the rest. At Rare Coin Collecting, we believe real knowledge beats hype every time. That's why we break down the facts, cut through the misinformation, and show you what actually matters. If you're a coin investor, collector, buyer, or seller, and you're serious about knowing what separates a valuable quarter from pocket change, then this channel was made for you, because the next big discovery might already be sitting in your hands. Don't miss what others overlook. You've probably seen the regular main state quarter before, maybe. It's in your change jar or tucked away in an old drawer. But what you haven't seen is its rarer, shinier, and far more valuable sibling, the 2003 S main silver-proof quarter. This isn't the kind of coin you'll ever find in pocket change. It wasn't struck for the public. It wasn't meant to circulate. And most people, even casual collectors, don't even know it exists. This coin was minted at the San Francisco Mint, and it's a proof strike, meaning it was created using specially polished dies with extra care to produce a mirror-like finish and razor-sharp details. But there's something even more important than that. It's made of silver. Real silver. 90% silver, to be exact. And here's where it gets interesting. While the Denver and Philadelphia mints produced hundreds of millions of main quarters, the San Francisco Mint only struck about 530,000 of these silver-proof versions. That's a fraction of a fraction. A drop in the ocean compared to the regular ones. Now think about this. Not all of those proof coins survived in perfect shape. Some were mishandled, some lost their luster, some were even removed from sets and thrown into circulation by people who had no idea what they were holding. So how rare are they today in flawless condition? When graded by PCGS or NGC at Proof 70 Deep Cameo, the absolute highest possible grade, only a very limited number make the cut. And when you mix high grade with low mintage and silver content, that's where serious value begins to stack up. Let's go even deeper. The 2003 Silver Proof Quarter is beloved by collectors for more than just rarity or metal content. The design, Pemaquid Point, lighthouse standing tall over the rugged Atlantic coast. Looks, breathtaking and high-grade silver proof. The schooner gliding across the water. The crisp S mint mark, the mirror finish against the frosted relief. It's pure artistry. But the real question is, what's it worth? Let's talk numbers. A perfect PR70 decam, silver-proof main quarter has sold for as much as $1,035 in public auctions, and that's just one. Several have crossed the 500-plus mark depending on the timing, demand, and overall market conditions. Even in slightly lower grades, like PR69, this coin can consistently sell for over $30 to $100, simply due to its silver content and collector appeal. But here's the catch. Because it's a proof coin, it must be absolutely flawless. Any haze, spots, or handling can cut its value in half or worse. That's why grading is key, and why serious collectors store these coins in slabs with full certification. So if you've got a 2003 silver-proof main quarter, especially one still in its original proof set, don't overlook it. And don't ever pop it out of the case. At Rare Coin Collecting, we expose the real truths behind coin value. No hype, no fake prices. Just the facts you need to become a smarter collector. If you're an investor, a buyer, a seller, or just someone who's passionate about US coins, this is the kind of knowledge that sets you apart from the crowd. Because while others chase myths, you know what to look for. And remember, there are 25 state quarters already covered on this channel, each with their own hidden history, mint secrets, and rare finds. Go back, watch them all, and find out which one could be your next hidden treasure. They say this Missouri quarter could make you thousands. Some say tens of thousands. One post even claimed it was worth over $50,000 if it has one tiny error. But is any of that true? Or are collectors being misled again? We're diving deep into the truth behind the 2003 Missouri P State Quarter. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what makes this coin valuable, what doesn't, and how you can avoid falling for coin hype ever again. Let's start with what most viral posts get wrong. A lot of them feature blurry images of Missouri quarters with random scratches, discoloration, or minor dings, claiming they're rare errors. But here's the truth. Those aren't mint errors. They're just circulation damage, and that's a big difference. In coin collecting, real value comes from intentional mint mistakes, extreme condition rarity, or true historical demand, not just wear and tear. Now with that out of the way, let's look at what actually does make the 2003 Missouri P quarter worth watching. First, the design. This coin is part of the 50 State Quarters program and was released in August of 2003. The Missouri design is bold, beautiful, and full of historical meaning. It honors the Lewis and Clark expedition as they pass through the gateway arch, with the explorers paddling upstream in a boat framed by trees in a wide river. But the detail here isn't just about beauty. It plays directly into minting quality, high relief elements like the paddles, the fine details in the boat, and the text Corpse of Discovery. 824 can be focal points for striking errors, so some collectors specifically look at those areas for doubling, cuds, or die chips. Now let's talk mintage, because this is where things start to get interesting. The Philadelphia Mint struck 200 Thesor, Missouri State Quarters. That's a high number. In fact, it's among the higher mintages of the 2003 quarters. So no, this isn't a rare coin just because it's from Missouri. But that doesn't mean there aren't rare versions of this coin. See, even in huge mint batches like this, quality control sometimes slips. And that's when things like doubled dies or off-center strikes can sneak through. There are only a few confirmed examples of doubled dies on the Missouri P quarter, but if you find one, especially with strong doubling on the word Missouri or the date, it can sell for a lot more than face value. But even without errors, condition is everything. A Missouri P quarter straight from a mint roll in pristine, untouched shape, when we're talking S68 or higher, becomes much more valuable than one found in pocket change. That's because coins at this level are almost flawless, with sharp detail and full luster. As of now, the highest graded known Missouri P state quarters sit at MS68, certified by PCGS and NGC. These coins can sell for hundreds of dollars, depending on demand and the timing of the auction. One such coin in MS68 was sold for over $700, and another reached $120 at a well-known online auction platform, though that was years ago when state quarter hype was peaking. But here's where the story gets more important and more helpful for collectors. There's a known variety that really gets people talking. It's sometimes called the extra tree or tree die chip variety, found on Missouri quarters, with visible extra growth or blobs near the tree line above the boat. These are caused by die chips, where a small piece of the die breaks off, leaving a raised area on the coin. They're not officially recognized by major grading services as varieties, but they are definitely collectible. Some of these extra tree Missouri quarters, if in mint state, have sold online for $30 to $150, depending on condition and visibility of the chip. But again, these only get that price when they're clean, uncirculated, and the chip is very clear. Another thing to look for is die rotation. The Missouri quarter doesn't have a famous rotated die variety, but minor examples have surfaced. If your quarters reverse and obverse are misaligned by more than 15 degrees, collectors may pay a premium. Some have fetched over $200 if the rotation is extreme. Now let's talk about proof-like appearance, and why some Missouri P quarters show amazing luster despite being business strikes. In some early strikes from new dies, the planchets were perfectly polished and the dies had sharp, clean surfaces. That created coins that look almost like proofs. They shine with mirrored fields and frosty devices. These are not proofs but are called PL or proof-like by some collectors. Though PCGS doesn't currently designate PL for state quarters, strong eye appeal like this can add value in a private sale. And let's not forget toning, that rainbow or golden hue that develops from metal, reacting with air over time. Missouri P quarters with natural, attractive toning, and especially with blues, purples, and reds, can sell for 2 to 3 times the price of a standard MS coin. But let's say you find a Missouri P quarter that looks flawless. What now? First, don't clean it, ever. Cleaning a coin, even gently, onto ruins its surface, removes original mint luster, and drops the value instantly. If you believe it's a high-grade example or has a visible error, you should 1. Use gloves or handle it by the edges only. 2. Take clear, high-resolution photos of both sides. 3. Submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Authentication and grading not only confirm the quality, they give your coin credibility and increase resale potential. Now, what about the fantasy? Can one Missouri P quarter make you rich? Honestly, no Missouri quarter has ever sold for millions, but the right combination, an extreme error, perfect grade, and strong market timing, could absolutely push values into the thousands. One thing's for sure, knowledge, not hype, is your most powerful tool. If you've made it this far, you're not just curious, you're serious. And that's exactly what we support here at Rare Coin Collecting. We're on a mission to uncover the truth behind U.S. coins, warn collectors about fake viral hype, and dig deep into real numismatic history and value. So whether you're a coin investor, collector, buyer, or seller, and you're tired of guessing, hit that subscribe button. We break it all down for you, one coin at a time, without the hype. You've probably heard people say the Missouri silver quarter can be worth thousands. But how much of that is real, and how much is just hype? Let's uncover the truth behind the Missouri S silver quarter, because this coin has a story most collectors don't fully understand. And if you've got one, or you're thinking about buying one, This might be the most important few minutes you spent today. Released in 2003, Missouri was the 24th state quarter in the U.S. Mint's 50 state quarters program. But the silver version? That wasn't released into circulation like the regular coins. It was struck in San Francisco, with a special finish just for collectors, and it came as part of the silver proof sets. Now here's where things get interesting. The Missouri S Silver quarter is made of 90% silver and 10% copper, not your regular copper nickel-clad coin. These were struck using polished dies on specially prepared planchets, giving them that mirror-like finish. They were never meant to end up in your pocket change, so if you find one in circulation, that's rare. Extremely rare. But let's talk mintage. The U.S. Mint struck only 125,755 of the Missouri S silver quarters. That's less than 2% of the total mintage when you compare it to the clad versions. To put that in perspective, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 225 million of the clad ones. So yeah, finding a silver one is like finding a needle in a haystack. But even among silver proofs, not all coins are created equal. Collectors look for coins graded by PCGS or NGC, especially in proof. 69 deep cameo or proof, 70 deep cameo, those are the top grades. And here's where value really starts to rise. As of now, a Missouri S silver, quarter graded PF70. DCAM can fetch up to 75 to 125, depending on market demand, population, and the certifying service. PF69 DCAMs, you're looking at around $20 to $40. Raw examples from broken sets usually trade around 10 to 18, mostly based on silver spot price and overall condition. But remember, proof silver quarters are more than just their melt value. Serious collectors pay a premium for perfect surfaces, frosty devices, and ultra-deep mirror fields. And the Missouri design? It's got a strong collector following. The reverse features Lewis and Clark's return down the Missouri River with the gateway arch in the background, a powerful nod to American exploration and westward expansion. It's symbolic. It tells a story, and that matters in numismatics. So how do you know if yours is a real silver proof? First, check the edge. Clad quarters have a brownish stripe from the copper core. Silver quarters have a solid silver-colored edge, no stripe. Next, look for that S mint mark. That's your proof coin from San Francisco. And if it's got that mirror-like shine with frosty raised details, you're looking at a proof. But here's the twist. Some people try to sell polished clad coins as silver proofs. Don't fall for it. We've seen a lot of fakes, either plated, polished, or falsely labeled. Also, avoid cleaning your coin. That can destroy its numismatic value instantly. A clean silver quarter, even if it's real, loses much of its collectible worth. Now let's talk investment. Is this coin worth holding? Absolutely, if it's high grade, untouched, and part of a complete silver proof set. It's not just a coin, it's part of modern American numismatic history. And with low mintage numbers and rising interest in the 50-state quarter program, demand for pristine silver proofs is only growing. Collectors building full silver state quarter sets know how hard it is to find flawless Missouri S proofs, especially since many original proof sets have been broken up and coins have been mishandled over the years. Now, could the Missouri silver quarter ever be worth hundreds or even thousands? Not likely, unless it's part of a mint error, like a double strike, off-center strike, or one of the extremely rare full reverse die cap errors. But those are 1 in a million and must be verified by top grading services. For the average silver Missouri S quarter, the real value lies in condition, grade, and market timing. And here's a final tip. If you're buying or selling, always check recent auction results from heritage auctions, great collections, or eBay sold listings. You'll get a much clearer picture of what collectors are actually paying, not just what sellers are asking. Because in numismatics, facts matter more than hype. And that's what we do here at Rare Coin Collecting. We're not just throwing out wild claims, we're digging into the real history, the real value, and the real market so you can make smarter decisions as a collector, investor, buyer, or seller. So if that's what you're here for, you're in the right place. Here's a 10-minute voiceover-ready script for the 2003 Alabama S Silver Proof State Quarter, fully aligned with your long form. Some people will tell you this coin is worth thousands. Others say it's just another pretty quarter from the 50-state series. But when it comes to the 2003 Alabama as silver-proof state quarter. The truth is a lot more fascinating and a lot more valuable than most collectors realize. And if you're one of those people who thinks this coin is just about Helen Keller on the back and a nice mirror-like finish, you're about to learn something that might just change how you see modern U.S. coins forever. This quarter didn't just roll out of the U.S. Mint as another souvenir. The Alabama S silver-proof was part of a powerful numismatic moment, right in the middle of a nationwide collecting frenzy. Struck in San Francisco, this quarter wasn't meant for circulation. It was minted only for collectors and produced with one of the highest quality finishes the U.S. Mint had to offer. These coins were carefully crafted from 90% silver and 10% copper, giving them that brilliant reflective surface and making them instantly more desirable than their clad counterparts. But what makes the Alabama silver quarter so compelling isn't just the metal, it's the story. Alabama was the 22nd state to enter the Union, and this coin honors not only that milestone but one of America's most iconic figures, Helen Keller. The reverse design features Keller seated with spirit of courage, inscribed in English and in Braille. It's one of the few U.S. coins ever produced that includes Braille lettering, which makes it historically significant and uniquely collectible. The coin also features a long-leaf pine branch and a magnolia blossom, two powerful state symbols that give this coin depth and regional meaning. Now let's talk about numbers. Only 125,755 of the Alabama silver-proof quarters were ever minted. That may sound like a big number at first glance, but in the world of coin collecting, especially for proof coins in silver, that's incredibly low. And most people who receive these in proof sets never preserved them in top condition. Many were handled, toned, or simply forgotten. That's what creates the scarcity in perfect grades today. The thing is, the market for silver-proof quarters isn't just about the silver. It's about condition. Grading plays a huge role. Coins in PR69 DCAM, Proof 69 Deep Cameo are valuable. But PR70 DCAM, the perfect grade, is where things really get interesting. Only a small percentage of Alabama S silver quarters have ever been certified in this top tier. The contrast between the mirrored fields and the frosted devices on a PR70 DCAM makes the design almost jump out of the coin, giving it that museum-quality appearance collectors are hunting for. So what's this coin really worth today? A raw Alabama silver-proof might sell for just a few dollars over melt value. But once you get into high-grade certified territory, especially PCGS or NGC slabs, the numbers change quickly. In PR69 DCAM, you could be looking at a solid $20 to $30 valuation, depending on the market and demand. But once you cross into PR70 DCAM territory, that's where things escalate. In one verified auction, an Alabama S silver quarter in PCGS, PR70 DCAM, sold for $250. In another certified sale, a coin from the same grade slabbed by NGC reached $295. And in the highest publicized sale we could confirm, an Alabama S silver quarter in flawless, PR70 DCAM, fetched $399. That's over 1,000 times its face value. And for a coin that many people overlook, just because it's modern, it's important to understand that these aren't fantasy numbers. These sales were recorded from real collectors and investors who know the market, and they reflect how serious some buyers are about acquiring top-grade modern proofs. The reason for the price jump is simple: rarity in perfect condition, limited supply, historic design, and silver content. But be careful, not every Alabama silver-proof is worth hundreds. Plenty are raw, ungraded, and full of hairlines or milk spots that instantly drop their value. That's why if you find one, never clean it. Don't polish it. And don't assume that just because it's silver, it's rare. The value is in the combination: proof quality, original luster, deep cameo contrast, and flawless surfaces. If you're a serious collector, or just someone who wants to understand what makes modern coins valuable, you can't ignore the Alabama S silver-proof. It's a coin that's part of a larger story. The state quarter program wasn't just about state pride. It was a moment that brought millions of Americans into the world of coin collecting. And among all 50 designs, Alabama's remains one of the most meaningful and visually rich. This is the kind of coin that reminds us why numismatics is about more than money. It's about preserving history in the palm of your hand. And for those who know what to look for, coins like this can become part of an investment portfolio, especially when backed by professional grading and market awareness. At Rare Coin Collecting, we dig deep into the real facts. No hype, no fake values. Just accurate, well-researched numismatic insights so you can buy, sell, and collect with confidence. If you're an investor, collector, buyer, or seller, this channel is built for you. And if you're serious about getting the truth behind rare coins, make sure you're subscribed. We've covered 25 quarters already, and there's a lot more to come. Now the big question is, do you have one of these sitting in a forgotten proof set? Because if it's flawless, it could be worth way more than you think. They say the Maine state quarter is just another common coin you'll find in pocket change, but that's not even close to the full story. There's something different about this one. A design that hides more than just a lighthouse, and a value that's quietly surprising collectors across the country. Issued in 2003 as the 23rd coin in the state quarters program, the Maine quarter immediately stood out. The design? It features the Pemaquid Point lighthouse, a symbol of safety and guidance, perched on a rocky Atlantic coastline, with a three-masted schooner sailing proudly in the distance. That schooner isn't just artistic. It's a tribute to Maine's historic shipbuilding legacy, a craft that shaped early American trade and defense. This coin came out of the Philadelphia Mint, which means it bears the P Mint mark. Now, many collectors assume coins from Philly are too common to ever be valuable, but Maine has a habit of surprising those who underestimate it. Over 217 million of these coins were struck in Philadelphia. That's a huge number. But here's what matters. Only a fraction of those survived in truly high condition, and fewer still show the kinds of mint errors or die varieties that could skyrocket their value. You see, the real story of the Maine P quarter isn't about how many were made, it's about what happened to most of them. They were spent, circulated, scratched up, and tossed around for decades. That's why collectors are now hunting for the ones that somehow escaped all that damage, untouched, uncirculated, and perfectly preserved. And in that search, they're finding more than just a piece of metal. They're discovering a story of patience, precision, and profit. Let's talk about condition. If you've got a Maine P quarter in pocket change, odds are it's in average circulated shape, and it might only be worth face value. But if that coin somehow stayed in pristine mint state, you've got something different entirely. Even at MS64 or MS65, you're entering collector territory. But when the grade hits MS67 or above, that's when the value conversation changes. Now let's bring in the suspense. Because this next part, this is where it gets real. Some lucky collectors, and or should we say, sharp-eyed numismatists, have sent Maine P quarters off to PCGS or NGC for grading. And a handful of those came back with elite grades, MS68. At that level, the coin looks almost untouched. Razor-sharp strike, blazing luster, no bag marks, no wear, just perfection from edge to edge. And that's when this ordinary coin turned extraordinary. One example of the 2003 P Maine quarter, graded MS68 by PCGS, sold for $383 in a public auction. Another, $360, and a third went even higher, $495. That's hundreds of dollars. For a coin you might still find hiding in a forgotten drawer. But it doesn't stop there. In 2022, a top-condition MS68 Maine quarter fetched $675 at auction. That's not a fluke. It's a trend, and the value continues to climb as fewer pristine examples hit the market. And then there's the mystery of possible errors. While the Maine P quarter isn't famous for a major die variety yet, a few rumored double dies and off-center strikes have quietly surfaced, often selling for over $100 to $250, depending on condition. These errors haven't gone viral, not yet, but sharp-eyed collectors are watching closely. Because when the coin community finally confirms a recognized variety, prices could spike fast. That's the thrill and the risk of collecting state quarters like this one. You might be holding a 0.25 coin, or you might be holding one worth 20, 30, or even 100 times more, but you'll never know unless you look closely, unless you understand grading, unless you understand what truly makes a coin valuable. So what does this all mean for you? It means if you've got a Maine State quarter with a P mint mark, don't ignore it. Check its condition. Look for unusual details. If it's uncirculated, clean, and well struck, and it could be worth submitting for grading. And if you stumble on a true MS-68, you just might be holding a small fortune in your hand. At Rare Coin Collecting, we believe in sharing real, authentic coin knowledge, no hype, no myths, and definitely no clickbait.
Our mission is simple: to help serious collectors, buyers, sellers,
And investors understand the true value of coins, from history and minting to market, demand and professional grading. If you're serious about coin, if you're looking for facts, not fakes, then you're in the right place. Subscribe and explore with us. There are 50 state quarters, and we're uncovering the real story behind every single one.